What is up, my friends? My name is Echo, and I'm back with episode 39 of the Spring Trap. And with me, we of course have Clash Bashing, Judo Sloth, and Darian, community manager for Clash of Clans. We're talking about, whatever you guys want to talk about from the chat today, but specifically, I get the feeling we're going to be talking about the incoming spring update for Clash of Clans. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for coming through tonight. Bash, what's up, bro?
Not much, man. I'm trying to figure out where I want my chat so I can see all of you guys out there, but things are going well. Now I got computers on the brain, Darian and I talking computers. So,
Mhm.
but I'm doing great, man. We just got off stream. Hopefully, we got some members from Bash Nation out here. Pretty pumped up for this episode. Judo, how you doing tonight, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Bash. Thank you. Again, it's always a privilege to be on the show. I'm super hyped for this one. We've got so much going on with Clash right now, so I can't wait to dive into it.
And Darian, how you doing, my man? Thanks for getting up early or staying up late. Which one is it for you?
Staying up late.
Mhm.
It's 5 a.m. out here in Helsinki, but it's always a pleasure to see you guys. It's always a blast. So hopefully my brain will be I mean, it's working on the update for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, we're in the home stretch now.
Yeah, your fried brain knows more than all of us anyway, so we'll still be able to sneak something out of you. But remember, guys, that your questions are going to be answered on the show. So if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. We'll grab them and hopefully be able to get to them at some point during the show. Bash, I know that you had a couple of questions that came out from your stream that just ended maybe a half hour ago. Should we start off with one of those, kind of get things rolling?
Yeah, one jumped out from me because we were talking about like balancing changes, the new troop levels, which I don't know about you guys. I'm really pumped up about the new witch level and ice golem level because I want to try some like frozen bow witch. But one of our guys on our ESL team actually said, was there any thoughts to like maybe buffing or even giving another level to E-Dregs? Do you guys is there any thought that E-Dregs are kind of underpowered right now? That was from Hoosier Gaming. I know they're
Oh,
used a
Hoosier.
lot, but it seems like a safe 2-star most of the time.
It's a pretty solid troop at this moment. We had talked about when we were doing the balance changes and what troop levels we wanted to introduce to this. I think the E-Drag is still a little bit too new before we start pumping more levels onto it, especially when so many other troops can use those additional levels. Uh,
Right.
like there were a couple other troops that we had looked at about possibly giving additional levels to, and in the end, we weren't happy with the balancing on it, so we just kind of held them back for now. So the ones that you ended up with are the ones that we're going with: the Ice Golem, Witch, and Hog Rider. So as far as the E-Drag, we think he's in a pretty good spot right now, and I think messing with that kind of throws a big monkey wrench in a lot of things,
Yeah,
or at
kind of
least
like too
potentially
much at
could.
one time, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty pumped for new hogs at 12. I I've always been a huge hog rider fan, but so potentially seeing more hog attacks at 12 is going to be sick. And the other one that really jumped out at me, and I wasn't sure. I don't know if anyone else here was. So it's going to be a monthly thing, the new season pass. I mean, that's what everyone's talking about. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Is it like month after month? Is there going to be a new hero skin, or is like that big reward going to change month after month? Is it always going to be a hero skin, or is there kind of just working on that kind of process?
Um, our goal that we have at least planned for now is that the hero skin will be the ultimate reward at the end of each gold tier of the season challenges. Um, that we had early in the development, we had discussed other things such as like custom downloadable wallpaper, like loading screens or maps for your village, as like visual things as far as rewards to give your village a sense of customization. But we just didn't have anything completed where we can implement tools like that. So it could be something that's for the future, but the heroes ones are ones that we were able to get finished. And as you've seen, that the Archer Queen and the Barbarian King have 3D models, but we couldn't get the Grand Warden model completed in time. And converting these things to 3D is a pretty time-consuming process, especially getting the animation, getting the textures and everything like that. So we still need to get the Grand Warden done. And the skins may not even be sequential in nature. I mean, just because the Barb King is first, the Archer Queen doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be next. It could be the Grand Warden. It could be the Archer Queen next. We could do another Barbarian King right after that before we do the
Right.
Grand Warden. So there isn't really a sequential set to these. Um, but we have a bunch of them already in the works.
Oh, nice. I personally love the skins. I know a lot of people are kind of
Yeah.
upset because you got to pay the $5, but and that's kind of the way things work. And I think someone said on my stream that you kind of confirmed that you had to basically switch to a 3D model to do the skins.
Yeah.
So that makes sense that the warden would be held up a little bit. I'm personally pumped up for it. I mean, and again, I'm a dirty gemmer, so I'm a little bit biased.
Well,
Yeah.
to give a little insight as far as why we had to convert to 3D is that because it's a 2D game, the characters aren't actually animated. It's just a bunch of single poses spliced together, kind of like an animated GIF or something, where you put one frame right after another to kind of create this faux animation, and which is easy to do on 2 dimensions, but you have to create an image for front, ain't diagonal, side to side, back to front, things like that. And having to do that for every single angle, and then if you were coming up with a new skin, because they're 2D models, you'd have to redraw each one by hand over and over and over again for each new skin, every single position, every single attack pose, every single resting pose from every single direction you can think of. And that's an incredibly time consuming process to do that for a 2D model. Whereas 3D, the way 3D models work is, the animation is already inherently part of the model itself. So all you're doing is adding a wraparound texture that matches the movement of that 3D model. So creating a 3D mapped texture over it is a very efficient, easier way of getting skins done. And it's basically the standard of how skins work on 3D models. So converting it, I mean, we're not going to convert the entire game to 3D. We just needed to do it for these.
It makes sense.
Let's transition to it was actually a comment, and I saw it in the chat pop on through, and I've seen it in my comments a lot in these videos that we've been putting out about the update, and a lot of people, and I mean, I could answer this myself, but they're complaining, is Clash of Clans pay to win now because you have to take the gold road to get that hero skin and stuff like that. And I mean, the way that I've always addressed it with my audience and everyone that watches my videos, and you guys can then share what you say, but I mean, even if you don't purchase the golden trail or the golden what is it called? Golden path. You're still getting more than we got before this update from the lower tier. So it's not like we're losing anything. You're just, if you don't want to spend money, you're not gaining that extra. So for me, it's like Clash has always been. If you want to pay to progress more quickly, you can. How do you guys feel about it?
Been watching our videos, Echo?
No, I don't watch those, man.
I only watch quality content.
Yeah. Oh no, you heard it here, guys.
Oh, shots fired.
Bash, I know that's the exact phrase that you put it as on your video, and I would agree. I mean, I know we both did videos on this, and I think it is pay to progress. The pay to win is just not the right phrase for it, in my opinion. But it depends on what you're going off in terms of pay to win. But you can win without paying, and that's the whole prospect of this. That's exactly what it means. And I think a lot of people in my comments were saying, well, you get so much more value by paying, but that's exactly the point. Clash has made in the last couple of years so many advancements for people to upgrade quickly that if you're going to spend, let's say, $25 on the game, if you were to get $25 worth 2 years ago, but now you could get all of that stuff with like a rune of gold, then who's going to pay $25? So the monetization aspect has to also change in order to align with that. It's just simple.
Right. And
Yeah, I agree.
In chat said, in any game, really, you need to purchase a skin. That's just the way the skin game kind of works. And I kind of talked about this on my stream. I mean, I did a video on it, but it's, to me, I mean, and Darian can comment after this, but to me, it's a monetization platform that has been successful for other games. Why wouldn't they adapt it if they can make it work? And I feel like the season pass, there's that free tier, which you can get a bunch of free stuff, which helps the free to play players even more. I don't understand why free to play players are so mad, because we're getting yet more stuff, but obviously you get that boost if you pay, which it makes a ton of sense to me. And I support it because I'm a dirty gemmer. Can't help myself.
But let's be honest though, you could be a complete dirty gemmer, max everything out, and still fail. It doesn't mean
Right.
just because you max everything out it doesn't mean you're going to suddenly be the best player in the game. You're going to be matched
And
against
that's
people
what
that
I
are more
touched
difficult,
on.
and yeah,
I
exactly.
touched on that as the matchmaking and skill base is there.
Yeah, I mean, so the idea behind this silver pass and gold pass was with the silver, we definitely wanted to make sure that there was something for everyone. And the amount of I loathe using the term value because that was never a byword that came up during the discussion when we were developing this. It was more about um, what could we inherently make available for players, and that silver path or silver pass, there's already a lot of free giveaways in that, and I think someone calculated like it's just per month it's like $30 worth of content that you're getting already direct access to, and with the gold pass, you know I believe that someone calculated the value of it like $270 or something
Yeah.
like that. Like someone, I remember someone on the forums did the math, and so the idea behind the gold pass was, for the same price of 500 gems, we wanted to make the content a no-brainer. Especially if you're someone who actively donates troops, that 1 gem donation alone
Yes.
is more than worth it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially
and
for like siege machines and stuff. Oh my god, that'll pay for itself alone.
yeah, absolutely. And the hero skin, I mean, I understand the sentiment that that not everything is available just by if someone wanted to pay for the gold pass with gems, or why isn't it for free? Um, Keep in mind that the skin is a visual aesthetic item that has no in-game value apart from just looking different. So the idea that it's pay to win, there's no in-game benefit. If it were something that gave extra stats to your barbarian king, or made your attacks faster, um, or gave some kind of benefit that no other player has access to, there may be some logic behind it. But given that there is only visual, it's a vanity item.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we've done vanity items like the hog statue, or like the other statues we've offered like that were just for purchase by through real money only. These are visual vanity items, and the skin is just that. Um, and we wanted it to be an incentive for people to want to strive for something.
Yeah, the thing
So
is, it's
there we go.
cool and everybody wants it, and the people that can't or don't want to pay for it, they get frustrated because they want it because it's a cool customization, and either they don't have the ability or they don't want to go that route, and there's no way to get it without spending the $5. I think that's
And
where people get frustrated.
And it's the first time we've done skins, so I mean,
Mhm.
it's a new exploration of Clash of Clans. It's something that we've never done before. So of course it's kind of the shiny new toy, and we may do additional rollouts of skins later on. I mean, there may be a point where we create a pipeline for skins where we may be able to do them much more rapidly and do them for different special incentives. Like, let's say, and I'm
Yeah.
purely hypothesizing on this, but when the world finals for the Clan War Leagues with ESL come up later this year, who's to say we couldn't do like a commemorative skin for everybody kind of thing. And then I want to caveat that these are just off the cuff ideas. Um, but because it's the first time launching it, we wanted to make sure that it was something that everybody, was excited for, everybody could strive for, and putting it on the gold pass seemed like the logical application for us.
Yeah, it makes
I
sense.
I'm in love with it
Yeah.
personally. I mean, I saw Joe's comments right there in the chat. Is there a possibility of skins on other items other than the heroes? And I thought that kind of came to my mind as well, like Archer Tower skins or something. And before I hop too much into that, I just think it's something unique. I mean, look at other games. We'll bring up Fortnite as a big example. There was so much backlash and so much negativity about the season pass, but once people started getting into it, you don't have to play it. You don't have to buy it if you don't want it. And there's those accounts that have those very first skins that are just so unique and people get excited about. So I think it brings a uniqueness to the game. There's no other real base builder that I've seen doing something like that. So I don't know.
It's definitely something that's worth considering. When we were working on this update, we're looking at other customization options. Like I said, possibly like map backgrounds, or like the tiles for, like, let's say if you wanted to convert your base to like a lava base where everything on the ground instead of grass is lava, things like that. I mean, these are things that we had considered. Maybe, I mean, building skins were one of the things that we tangentially touched upon, but nothing's really set in motion for that.
Yeah.
So
I think
I guess
it
the bottom
opens
line
the
is, who
door a
knows?
lot. Yeah, it opens a door for a lot of customization in the game. I'm sorry, I was cracking up because Bertus donated and said
Yeah.
bald bashing skin.
The new giant.
I
That's
guess
exactly what
my
it is.
only thing on customization of other things is it would have to make sure, like on the, let's say the defenses, it would have to be not crazy enough that if someone went to attack your village, like they couldn't figure out what was what, if that made sense.
Oh no, that would be
Like,
even
right
better though.
now-
Like a cannon skin on an archer tower, just a troll.
It'd be fun, but it'd be super annoying. So
Not
I
like
guess
actually
they just
looking
have to
like a
take that into
cannon, but
consideration.
yeah,
No, I
absolutely.
mean, they'd have to still look like what they represent,
right,
and you
yeah.
should still be able to visually tell, like, especially on a defense, like, what level it is, if it's set to air versus ground, or if it's an inferno tower, like single versus multi. So, I mean, in the end, one of our goals is that we don't want to increase complexity too much. And that's been one of our guiding stars ever since we did Town Hall 12, is that we kind of want to avoid as much complexity as possible. We don't want to make things more complicated than they need to be just to add something fancy. A good example is that when we were working on Town Hall 12, we were actually thinking about adding a new type of currency to the game.
Oh,
But in the end, or like some kind of a new additional resource. But in the end, it didn't really serve any purpose when there's already 3 resources, with one of them being a very, very premium resource, Dark Elixir. The adding a 4th resource didn't really add much to the game. It just added more complexity. It added a weird kind of, we have to look at how one is valued versus the other, and it just created more tiers of complexity that were just completely unnecessary. So we scrapped it. So when it comes to customization, we need to make sure we're approaching it from the same way.
Makes sense.
Late Sleeper says 2 of you get the gold passes. 3-way Royal Rumble. Darian ref, please.
$10 donation.
Yep. Thank you, brother.
We gotta duke it out, boys. So you brought up Dark Elixir. That I saw a question, and I've seen this one a lot. About the witches coming to Town Hall 10, the level 3 witches.
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask me about Dark Elixir walls. That's
Honestly,
why the eyebrow was raised.
I would love that, but I'm not going to get into that. People are just wondering, like, is it just we felt that witches were due to come to Town Hall 10? Was it just to kind of make it so 10 has one and 11 has one and 12 has one? Or why is Town Hall 10 getting level 3 witches now is the main question I'm seeing a lot.
So we knew we were going to add another level to witches at Town Hall 12. But so the way the damage curve and the leveling curve went, one of our designers looked at it and said, it would be easier if we could transition it a little bit sooner, like a little bit earlier in the game. And so I'm trying to summarize. The guy's brain works in a very, very interesting way. There's no way I could summarize some of his logic, because he's a pretty intelligent guy that thinks on a variety of levels. But long story short is that looking at the leveling curve and how the damage went, that it made it easier for players to transition into higher levels if they had access to it earlier.
So kind of, just ease up into the higher level witches. That makes sense.
So the question I've been asked most is if I could buy my subscribers royal passes. Have you guys, the gold passes, have you guys gotten those questions as well?
Yeah, we have.
A few.
So one of the options that was proposed to us is, like, how you can gift gems to people in your clan. But one of the dangers in that is that we have to look at the worst of human nature. So while things may look good and sound good, like, oh, cool, I would love people to gift my clan this. So you have to look at also from the negative side, where when people are buying third-party gems, generally, if someone goes to a website to buy cheap gems, how are those usually paid for? They're usually purchased with stolen credit cards and money, laundered money. It's kind of a sad fact of how that industry works. And with gems, when we find out that someone's been purchasing third-party gems, a lot of times the original owner of that credit card will refund it. We remove the gems, and that person goes into a negative gem balance.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the season challenges, like let's say someone bought their clan a bunch of gold passes with a stolen credit card. They unlock all their tiers, unlock all the hero skins. They've been doing attacks, benefited from the boosts. Let's say they had no idea that their gift was financed by a stolen credit card. We can't go through and just undo every single bit of progress that those players have made in the game. We can't undo every attack. We can't undo the resources that they looted because those resources came from someone else, and those resources came from someone else. We can't just take away their skin if they've unlocked it that far, and they've been legitimately playing on the basis that they're assuming that the gift that they got was clean. So it puts everybody in a really problematic situation if someone's fraudulently using your credit card. So right now, the only proposition would be, let's say if you bought someone a gift card, I guess. I'm not sure if that works on there. I'd have to check on that one. If let's say someone bought gift card like Google Play gift cards for everybody.
I would assume you would be able to do that because you can load up a gift card and buy, like the special packs,
Yeah.
that cost
Okay,
money.
then
So I
yeah.
would assume that would work. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense to prevent fraud.
Yeah, totally. I'd never thought of that actually because I've seen that question a lot. So that's great that you kind of cleared that up as well, Darian. I guess the only thing that popped into my mind as you were saying that, and again, I know it adds some level of like complexion to the game, but maybe you could have like another item from clan games. Could be anything, a ticket or something like that, and that could be like one of the final rewards in clan games. And then if you collect 5 of them, you could exchange that for a gold pass or something like that. Like that
Golden
might
ticket.
allow.
It's an
Yeah.
interesting idea. We haven't really looked beyond how we want to implement, like if there's any kind of like special deal gold passes, if it's part of a package deal or part of one of the in-game value packs or reward for clan game. The update isn't even out yet, so
Yeah, totally.
Right.
as far as like we wanted to just make sure we can get it out first.
It's funny how that
So-
works, right?
Yeah, that's always the goal.
So once we get it out, we do want to see how well it performs, and we have to. I mean, it's easy to come up with like, hey, all these ideas for this. Like, why don't we do it like this? But unfortunately, we have to look at hard data and to see how well it performs. We have to see where the deficiencies are, where is it most successful at, and where do we see, like, is there an incentive for us to start expanding how we want to offer it? So that just requires numbers. So we can't just arbitrarily say, let's just add it to this pack here just because it sounds like a cool idea. We are data driven in a lot of our stuff.
Yeah.
Totally.
We had a few questions come through with some donations, so thank you guys for the donations. And the first one was from Bertus21. He wants to break the seal. He's going to be asking about the clouds. We got them a little bit darker. When is Project Blue Skies going to be complete, Darian? You knew that one was coming. You knew it was coming today.
Yeah.
So it's been canceled. No, I'm kidding.
Bash is
What,
going to
you didn't-
clickbait that in tomorrow's video.
I know. He's gonna
Absolutely. I already got it.
But
I got this video made.
Dark clouds wasn't good enough. I thought that was the solution right there. He just wanted it
I-
darker, so it's as easy on the eyes.
I tried to convince Bertus. I said, Bertus, look, we got your fix, bud. When you're up late at night clouding, it's not going to be so hard on your eyes.
There you go. It was like a 5-minute fix. No, it was a lot longer than that, actually. For the dark clouds, that was actually a kind of a perfect convergence of opportunity, which we can get to that later. But as far as the cloud solution, I think it was like about mid to late last year. We had originally thought we could do it first quarter of 2019, but once we started getting closer towards the War League release, realized that we're going to need additional time on it. So that's when we started talking about first half of 2019. And keep in mind that even though the clouds are one of the most vocalized issues for higher end players, the number of players that it affects is probably under 1%, like if even that. Um, that's not to say it's a minor problem. It is a major problem, and it's one that's been needing addressing. But we also want to make sure that when we do implement the solution to the clouds, that it provides incentive for people who've never climbed that high to want to climb that high, because trophy pushers are of a different mentality than war players. Um, they have different mentality needs when they're playing the game. They look for different types of challenges. So trying to keep that in mind as we're working on the solution. Sorry, my screen keeps blacking out. Screensaver mode. A brand new computer. I forgot to disable the monitor turn off. So we want to make sure that there's incentive for players to want to, who have never climbed that high, that when we implement this solution, that they see it as, they don't see it as something like, oh, that's just an elitist 1% top solution problem. We wanted them to see it as like, hey, now there's this incentive for me to want to prove how good I am in this mode, and now there's an avenue to do it where I don't have to worry about the same issues that people have been experienced previously. With that in mind, we're still on track for first half of the year. Given that this is our first the battle or the season challenges are the first major update of this year. So I'm projecting that the clouds update will probably be the next major update of the year.
Nice.
Awesome to hear.
That is.
I just did a big push, and I don't think people realize. I know a lot of people talk about the pushing and like the clouds being an issue, but I don't think people realize part of the issue is when you get to a certain point, you can't hit so much lower because it'll be like a zero offer. There's no point. I was at 6,000, and if I saw anything under, I think it was 5,300, it would have been less than a 6 offer, which is the minimum offer. So that's why you're not seeing it. So, and that's something I've always said is what you were kind of just talking about is there needs to be a reason for people to push up, in my opinion, because people aren't, it's time consuming as the system is. It's very time consuming to get up there and maintain it. And so people need a reason to do that, or it almost needs like a complete overhaul, in my opinion.
And I think something that I've mentioned on your show previously is that we also want to make sure that it's not a contest of who can stay online the longest either. So, like, let's say, let's say, Echo, let's say, you're someone who is okay at attacking. And this is, I know you're a lot better. But for the sake of example, let's just say you're just okay at attacking. But you're capable of spending, let's say, 18, 19 hours online doing attack after attack after attack. Or let's say Judo is really good at attacking, but is only but is only capable of doing like 6 hours a day. So we have to look at also, how do we make that fair, that when you get to that top tier, that it's not about just spending all that time online. So we have to look at a system that what number of attacks would be fair. Is it a matter of like how many attacks you can get in, and if that's the case, how do we make sure that there's enough bases for people to attack? And these are some of the things that we have to tackle, and we've got a good idea of how we want to tackle this and make sure that it's a fair system for everybody once you get to that certain trophy threshold. That the way the game functions when you get to that, I'm going to say arbitrarily at 5,000 trophies, the way it functions, when you cross that threshold, like how you get matched against other players will have to change.
Yeah, the time issue, and Burdish just donated and said there's got to be a better solution than sitting 3 hours in the clouds.
Yeah.
And it really is frustrating because I'm someone that loves to push. I just did my push. I fell short of 6,400, but I did get to like 6,340. Humble brag. But when I do a push, I have to tell my wife, babe, I'm pushing this month. And she knows that means I'm going to have the iPad in front of me or around me for 14 to 18 hours a day because it's a commitment. I mean, I posted a picture and I did it on purpose because, I figured people would get a kick out of it, of me at dinner at a restaurant with my iPad in the background, clouding. And that's what a lot of people do is, they're on their iPads taking it with them, and it's just kind of ridiculous that you have to commit so much of your life
Yeah, yeah.
to do that. And I mean, there's also, people accuse others of sharing accounts and all that stuff. It's just, if there was more of, it almost has to be like a PvP system, or there has to be a way to get people up there. I don't know.
Well,
I'm opinionated on the clouds.
it's not going to be a head-to-head PvP system base. The main village has always been asymmetric PvP, and that's kind of the heart of the game, and that's probably the way that'll remain. Um, there was something that you touched upon, which was people just sitting there, waiting for a base to become available, and that also shows that, like, to a certain extent, that cloud pushers are inherently risk takers, because they don't have the opportunity to click next. They have to go with
Yes.
what the next available base is, and there is inherently a certain thrill in that, because you have to go with what troops you already have, regardless of what the base looks like.
Mhm.
So that's another part of that pusher mentality that's different from the war community, where with the war community everything is very meticulously planned out down to the single, like where you deploy a troop. Whereas with trophy pushing, what you see is what you get, and you've got to make do with what you have there.
Right.
And so there is an inherent a little bit more of a risk versus reward there.
Yeah. And someone, I think it was my comment section mentioned, is maybe there's too much shielding, which I agree with the shielding process, because I mean, if I'm spending 14 to 18 hours a day in the clouds, like every Saturday, I made sure my one day was available because that's my family day. But I mean, has there been thoughts like maybe the village guard is too long, that extra extended village guard, the 2-day shields, maybe get rid of those? Because I mean, that would make more bases available. Because the last week of the season was absolutely horrible. I found like one base in 2 days and felt really bad.
Um, we are looking at the shield system and the guard system and how that affects shields, or how it affects the clouds, and what we can do. Um, I hate using the word improve or change, but inherently that's what's going to happen, is because if everybody's shields are up and nobody's available to attack, that's when you get clouds. So we're looking at a system of, how do I say this without really giving anything away
Careful.
yet? I would say just making sure that there are plenty of targets to attack. And I know that's something that I've said before, is because, and I know I'm being very vague and light on details,
You
because
have to be.
again, yeah,
Yeah,
no, I mean,
no,
because
that's cool.
our current update isn't even out yet.
Yeah.
But we are going to be talking about more details on the clouds once this update goes out. I can't give a time frame just yet, but the clouds is one of our biggest focuses for the next few months.
Yeah.
Cool.
It makes
Like,
sense.
it's
I mean,
pretty much all hands on deck for this.
Nice.
That was awesome insight, though. That was great to listen to.
Yeah. Why don't we move on to another question and give you a break from the clouds? And we had one come through from Joe, again with a donation. Thank you, brother. He said, what are your thoughts on the development of the Ice Golem? Is it supposed to be a tank or a support troop? Where do you guys see it being used for? Or what do you guys... I mean, we obviously see it being used a ton right now in defensive clan castles, which is going to be probably changing in some way because of that change coming with the update.
Yeah.
But where do you guys... I mean, as creators of content of attacking and war, do you see these changes, guys, bringing the Ice Golem into the offensive meta, or is it still going to kind of be, used sparingly here and there?
Are you asking me or Judo and Dash?
Whoever. I mean, obviously you guys are changing it. Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting with that increased range, because I will often, like, I do my streams planning out attacks and things, and if there's ever I don't know, like an archer tower on the outside of the base, I'll consider an Ice Golem there, particularly if it's going to freeze and then hit another defense as well. But now that range is so much bigger, you can really make sure that defenses behind that next layer of wall might be frozen behind it, and that is where the real advantage comes from the Ice Golem. So it is a support in that aspect, but it's a tank to set your funnel initially. It's not going to be long
Long
enough to get
term.
much
Yeah.
further than that, but then it turns into a bit of a support. But if you could get one into the base as well with your kill squad, then that's going to just be awesome as well. Just that increased range, it looks so much more valuable on offense now, I think. But obviously, once the update drops, we'll be able to do a lot more testing and see exactly how that's going to go down.
Yeah, it's
Well, I mean,
clearly going to get more offensive value. It was just going to find out if it's enough to replace other tanking troops that may be currently in that spot.
during the design phase when we were working on the ice golem, from an offensive perspective, we were trying to think of a tanking unit that was somewhere in between giant and golem, because that was a niche, a good solid tank that was missing from there, a ground tank kind of in between the two. And when we released it, we found that there was much more greater utility as a defensive unit because of how good that freeze effect was. So going into this update, we were looking at different ways that we wanted to make the ice golem much more viable in terms of offense. And so there were little other things that we were looking at, such as what if we made the ice golem break it into little other ice golemites and they would in turn die and cause freeze spells. Well, that felt too close to the regular golem. We wanted it something to have its own identity as something unique. Um, and this is the first time we've introduced a troop that had a different effect based on how you used it, whether it's offensive or defensive.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of something that we played with, and we found in early testing um, that there were a lot of balancing things that some of the testers really liked, some of it really didn't like. And so it went through quite a few rounds of tweaking before we came up with these final numbers.
Yeah, I'm pumped up. I think them on defense right now is just crazy good, especially I mean when you're seeing two, it'll just like
Yeah.
shut down a ground attack or even a kill squad. So I love that that's getting nerfed. And I kind of like what Judo was saying. I like that bigger radius. And my first thought on the bigger radius was like supporting a queen walk. Sometimes you
Yeah.
would plan out a queen walk, but you couldn't go down that lane because there's that single inferno behind that layer of walls. But now you get that ice golem in front of there, maybe your queen walk's more successful. And like I mentioned, like at the beginning of the show, I think like Ice Bow Witch could be really fun with the new
Mm-hmm.
levels of witches and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna play with it. I think it's a cool troop. I think it's a cool concept. So I'm pretty excited about the changes comes to Ice Golem personally.
It's always
It's
exciting.
an interesting thing that it's gonna be interesting what happens with the meta. I mean, ultimately, we're as the game developers, we come up with this new content, but ultimately it's the players that come up with the meta. I mean, as
Right.
far as the strategies and things like that, you guys are a lot more creative in how it's applied. And then we have to look at the numbers, looking at how our attacks are being done, how the meta is affected by these changes based on what player behavior is. Um, so we're pretty excited to see where this goes from here.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see the P.E.K.K.A. and Ice Golem method inside the Wall Wrecker as well. When you pop that P.E.K.K.A. onto the Town Hall as well, and then the Ice Golem now being able to freeze so much more in the base as well, that's
Yeah.
going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We had another question, a real quick one from Isaac Wolf. Will flags be added? More flags be added to the game? A lot of people ask this question, so why don't we answer it?
No.
Answer is
probably
no.
your favorite comments section.
That is a resounding no. So here, the no is the simple answer. Here's the complex answer.
Yep.
So if we were to add, let's say we decide to add every country's flag. Politically, that would be a bad idea because not every country recognizes the sovereignty of other countries, especially countries that our game is already released in. So if we added, let's say, country A and country B doesn't recognize country A, but country B is a country that our game is incredibly popular with, does that run the risk of them not allowing our game into their country?
Mm.
So, and on top of that, many countries don't recognize the independence of certain countries. So we can't just put every flag into the game. On top of that, if we put one flag into the game, that just opens up an additional, mountain of problems of, well, you added theirs, why can't we add more? Why can't we add this one? Can't we add
Yeah.
this one? Can't we add this one? So one of the other solution is, why don't we just remove them all? Well, that causes another mountain of problems. So, how many people, let's say, people spent, gems, money to buy their flags. There's going to be people who are I kind of don't want to use the word patriotic, but very proud of, where they're from. And if we take it away, they're going to direct all of their anger on other groups of players and kind of wrongly blame them, saying it's their
Right.
fault for having the flags taken away. And that's another thing we don't want happening. So kind of right now we're a bit of a stalemate. We can't really add more. We can't take them away. It's kind of a crappy situation to be in. But for now, we felt the best solution is just we're not adding more flags. And on top of that, they do take up resources. Android has a very limited amount of storage space that the game allows to be published. Flags move the game's size towards that limit without really adding any kind of value in game, apart from just a visual element. And I think that's storage space that could be used for other things. So for now, it's just we're not touching it.
Yeah. If
Way
you
to
could
bring
look,
policy in, Echo.
yeah, I know. His first answer was fine. The no was okay with me.
Okay, I'm just giving one-word answers from now on.
Oh, why don't we lighten it?
I honestly never thought that
wow,
much
yeah.
into it, so that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
I never even considered that, to be honest.
Either way, there's going to be people
it's a pretty
complaining
bad
about it.
situation to be in.
Yeah. If you could go back in time, maybe there would be no flags from the beginning, right there.
Yeah, one of our games, and I'm not going to say which game, but one of our games, they were talking about possibly putting flags into the game. All of us kind of collectively went, no,
Yeah.
Don't feel it.
No flags.
And they're like, why? I was like, here, let me show you the millions of reasons why you don't want it. And they kind of looked and went, oh, okay, yeah, don't do that.
Makes sense.
So, speaking of other games, real quick, I want to, because we were talking about ice golems, and that's from Royale essentially, and that we've seen that with other troops like the temporary troops, the El Primo, the giant skeletons. Is there like, I don't know how I want to kind of word this. Do you guys not necessarily look, but I guess look would be the right word. Look at other games and maybe see if there's something you could adapt to bring into Clash from another game that could bring a unique perspective. I mean, I thought the Ice Golem was really well executed, really well adapted. Is that like something that's kind of looked at for future things?
Clash
Also
of
bring
Clans
back
was here
Giant Larry. Well, absolutely. They all copied us. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But also bring back Giant Larry for the win, please.
So, I want to be very clear on something. The Ice Golem that is permanently in Clash of Clans is not the same Ice Golem that's in Clash Royale.
That's what I like to hear.
We did have the Clash Royale Ice Golem as a seasonal troop, but the one that we put permanently in the game is not the same. Not the same effect, not the same art. That was a completely independently created one, solely unique for Clash of Clans. And there's a very, very important reason why I'm distinguishing that is because during the development of the Ice Golem, people were posting pictures of the Ice Golem on the forums, and I'm saying, those are wrong. That's incorrect. That's false. And because, the Ice Golem released in game wasn't that one. So I want to make sure that, I'm not being inconsistent with that.
Makes sense.
Sorry.
No, it has to happen.
But as far as other troops and we want different ideas that we get from, let's say, Clash Royale. I mean, we did El Primo, but with Clash Royale and Clash of Clans, technically they take place in the same universe. It's the Clash world or Clash universe or Clashiverse or whatever you want to call it. So technically they share that same world. So there's going to be some, I guess, reciprocating of troop ideas between them. But we want to make sure, if we add something to Clash of Clans, that it's something that does fulfill a niche. Whether it's a seasonal troop or permanent troop, and it's got to be fun. We don't want to just add something just for the sake of adding something. This isn't Clash Royale, where Clash Royale type games require that constant variety to keep the game fresh. Clash of Clans is a very different type of strategy game, where it's more about consistency rather than variety.
I get that. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I forgot all about El Primo, Joe. Oh, El Primo.
He was good.
That thing would just destroy. I remember the best war attack I ever had with El Primos. 4 El Primos crushed through a wall, went in there, took out a single Inferno, Wizard Tower, Archer Tower. Oh my goodness, it was so good.
Still
Anyways,
remember.
I'm sorry.
Link in the
Bring back my
description to that
seasonal
video.
troops, Darian.
You got a little misty-eyed there thinking about those
I,
gold primo
I
days.
know.
Um,
Giant
the
skeletons
the
blowing
nice
up
thing
the
about
place.
seasonal troops is that we get to focus more on the fun rather than
Yeah.
the balance.
Right, you don't have to make it equal across it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think seasonal troops are really cool. Some of them, I still miss you. I wish that, I don't know, the Ice Wizard, man. Everyone loved him, but I thought he was too kamikaze for my liking.
He was a good
I liked
funneler.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's probably one of the better seasonal troops.
Yeah, definitely. But I must
El
admit,
Primo for
I
win.
like the seasonal troop aspect. I know a lot of people have differences of opinions on that, but I think the seasonal troops are a really good idea.
Yeah,
Well,
it's cool.
I think people fall in love with them and then hate to see them go. I think that's the part
Yeah.
of the, a big part of the
100%
issue.
the problem is
Yeah.
we get so excited because some of them are really strong. I mean, El Primo destroyed walls and then went
Yep.
and destroyed defenses,
Yeah.
So it was
Oh.
just
Yeah,
so useful.
there was a bit of outcry that people were wanting El Primo to be permanently added to the game. I mean, but what they'd have to realize that if we were to add it permanently to the game, it would be severely, severely nerfed down to the ground because it was
Right.
just way too overpowerful.
Yeah.
So since we're on El Primo, can we confirm was it the Clan Game Strongman dressed as El Primo?
I'm pretty sure we made it pretty abundantly clear that it was a strongman. Like
I
we
just
weren't
want to
really
make sure we're
shy
clear
about it.
here. Clear everything up and get the air. We had conspiracy theories. I did a full documentary. Okay, I'm just kidding.
Let's do 2 really quick questions, and then we can get into a really casual one that I know that you'll enjoy talking about. So really quickly, siege machines for Town Hall 11. Is that going to come in the future? Possibly. Is it a thought?
Nope.
Okay.
Yes.
Second question. I'm happy about that, actually. I know you want people to go to Town Hall 12. We know this.
Yeah.
And how
So
about
every town hall? Well, let me,
Mhm.
every town hall has its signature defense and offense.
Right.
There has to be a unique use for it. And then each one has its unique building. When we did Town Hall 12, we didn't add a new unique defense. Or a new unique defensive building. We just added something to the town hall. So it was missing that one key unique building that was exclusive to that town hall level. And that's where the siege machines came in. Sure, they got the electro dragons as well, but with the siege machines, Town Hall 12 was meant to add something a little bit different to the strategy and the meta of the game, and that's what siege machines offer, a completely different way of attacking. It's the first Trojan horse type unit we've ever introduced to the game. So we want that to be exclusive for Town Hall. There has to be a reason. If it was available at Town Hall 11, there'd be very little incentive to want to go to Town Hall 12.
Yeah.
Because they're such lucrative units.
Good
Makes
point.
sense.
And the other question that we wanted to quickly just ask is voice chatting coming to game ever? No. Again. Okay, cool.
That would be bad.
That's a no with an asterisk. We've experimented with voice chat type programs before. Ultimately, we're not a social network platform. We're a game. And while like PC games offer voice chat in game, there's other voice chat apps. Discord that we're using here is one of them. Ultimately, is that a direction that we want Clash of Clans to go in? Is that really are those really resources worth really investing into this game if it's only going to be limited or used by a limited few number of players for war attacks, or is it largely used as a communication platform just for chatting? And if that's the case, how do we make sure that it's a safe environment where people, like, we have to look at child predators grooming younger players, and where right now with text we have record of that. We can't record every voice chat, so there are certain inherent risks that we also have to look at. Again, we have to look at the worst of human nature when it comes to these things, and how do we protect players from that. So ultimately, I don't think it's the direction that we want Clash of Clans to go in. That's not to say future games may or may not have some kind of voice chatting. I can't speak on behalf of the other games, but as far as Clash of Clans, it was something that we kind of went, we didn't really see a value in it.
Mm. It's a good point that you have to look at the worst possible cases, but also it's sad at the same time that you actually have to think about that stuff. But it's true. It's just it's factual information about what society is right now. So
Yeah, I mean, we've had
makes sense.
there's been so many ideas where we've been really optimistic, like, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? But then we have to put on the adult caps on and think, well, really suck if someone did this, this, and this, and we just kind of have to like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Then you have to look at it responsibly, and you're like, oh, there goes our fun idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Responsible adulting. I'm glad that you're taking a minute to actually explain them, because it's rather than just a no, there's actually a legit reason behind your reasons for
There's
both of
a
those
lot
last two
stuff
questions.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah.
Like
And
some
no
of these
one
answers,
does.
I was like, wow, I'd never even considered that.
Yep. And
Real
why
quick
don't
before you go on, Echo, I got a quick question that you
Okay,
reminded
yes.
me of
take it?
because I forgot. Has there been thought of adding a timer to the in-game call system? Because I would love to use the in-game call system, except for calls can just sit there for the entire length of the war, and that person never attacks, and then that base is just called. One thing about like some of the bots some of the clans use, my clan uses it. There's like a 1 hour, 2 hour call system. Has there been any thought to that? Because I would
Um,
love the in-game call system.
I think that the in-game, are you talking about like the notation system where you can claim a base and like where it
Right?
shows like me
Yes.
Mhm.
planting a flag next to it? I think there's room for improvement.
Yes.
The original idea behind it is that we just kind of wanted to provide a note keeping tool. Um, one of the way my clan uses it is, we have a kind of like a war general type personality in our clan, and he writes very detailed notes about like, all right, attack with a golem at 3 o'clock and then deploy, which is here. And because we don't use any kind of voice chat, we communicate purely through in-game text, and so that's kind of his way of just delegating who attacks what and where. Um, but as far as if there's a base that someone plants a flag down that I know I could 3-star and I just never see them attack, it's a crappy feeling that you're sitting there going like, what's this person waiting for? If I attack, are
Right.
they going to get mad for me still overstepping my bounds? So I think
Exactly.
a timer is something it's I think it's a good quality of life improvement that we could do. We'd have to look at how long do we want to set it for, and that's again, we'd have to look at it from a data driven. We can't just set an arbitrary number of like, let's just make it 4 hours. Do we want to make it worth half the war time? And this is something that we also need to talk to the war community about. Like, what number do they think is something reasonable? And we can't arbitrarily make that in a vacuum. So
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
I
think it's
know.
worth discussing.
I know,
Worth
like with the
discussing.
bots, like it's you can adjust it or something. It's just we use the in-game call system for like the in-game CWL, which is incredible because we all get one attack. But in
Yeah.
a regular war, we got 2 attacks, and we've had people claim a base and just sit there, and we don't like during our regular wars we don't honor the in-game call system because of that. That fact alone is you got to call on the bot here on Discord if you want
Right.
to actually have stake in it. So that's why I brought that up.
Cool.
That's an interesting question, though, Bash. I think that was good to ask.
I love the call system. I think it just needs, like you said, room for improvement.
Yeah.
Judo, is there any question that you want to ask or topic before I bring up something pretty casual?
Well, I wrote down a couple of questions. I had been copying them across to the Discord chat here, so I just want to
Okay.
make sure that we cover the different ones. But Gavin had asked earlier on in the stream. I think I can probably answer this, to be fair. How much of a grind it would actually be to get to the final tier? And it looks like from obviously videos and that things that we've done and the information that we've received that actually you will receive a lot of points just by doing your regular stuff in game, which is what we hope. But I'm sure to get to that final one, there has to be some level of looking at the season challenges.
I would say so. You have the daily challenge, the 3 daily challenges recycle every day, and plus it's not just all of a sudden you're just given this entire wall of challenges to go through throughout every month. Every week there's a batch of them, and then every week that list gets longer and longer and longer, and you can't trash them like you can in the clan games, which is why we have the daily refreshing ones as well, just to kind of keep things interesting and a little bit of variety. But there should be enough challenges for roughly, I want to say about 4,500 points worth of challenges every month. So there's more than enough for if you're moderately active, it should get you to the end of the gold tier pretty quickly.
Awesome.
Cool.
And the only other question that there was asked, which I thought was interesting by Tony, was if someone purchases the gold pass, do they still get the silver pass rewards as
Oh yeah,
well?
you get both. You get both.
Yeah, there's your
Okay.
answer.
That's
Real
cool.
quick on that one, I've seen this in my comment section. Say I've decided I don't want to do the gold pass. I get to the end of the silver pass, or I get halfway through, and then I buy the gold pass. Do you get the rewards that you've worked up to? Do you know what I'm saying there? Okay. I assumed
So
yes, but I didn't want to like answer that question and be wrong to the viewers.
when you're looking at the reward path, you've got the gold and the silver. So even if you haven't upgraded to the gold, it still shows your point progression as you go through it. So let's say, 3 weeks in, you realize, hey, I'm pretty close to finishing this gold tier. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade right now. So you get all the rewards that you've unlocked from both tiers. Now, some of those tiers are like 10% boost, 20% boost to training, research, things like that. So if it's a boost, that boost doesn't start until the point you have
So you
upgraded
get
to the
it.
gold. So it's one of the things that if you know you're gonna get pretty far and you want those boosts, it's more advantageous to unlock it early. But if you don't care about the boost and you only want the rewards, you can wait until the very end of the season and just say, what, yeah, I'm just gonna upgrade it and just get all the rewards all at once.
That's what I assumed, but I didn't want to like answer viewers and like be wrong, and then they're like, "Ah, I hate you, Bash. You lied to me." But
But keep in mind that the maximum storage limits of magic items still apply.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
Quick one here from Cam Blake. Why is the Expo Inferno Tower Eagle and Traps going to be free to arm, and why every time you log in will they automatically be armed? So we heard of this. Why?
Yeah.
I guess he's asking.
Why is that a question?
I think it's a great thing.
No
I don't have to
offense,
do
but
it
why is that
manually.
a question?
I don't know.
We can put it back to manual mode if you want.
I
Don't
prefer
do
it to
this
be
to
on.
me.
Yeah, I
Echo,
don't
you should
understand.
screen your questions. Get that.
That
out
one
of
that
here.
one
Just
came
pretend
through
that
with a
didn't happen.
donation too. I mean, I kind of
What?
had the. That one came through with a
Let's talk about
donation.
Darian's PC. I saw that question from Corrupt.
That was the last one I was
that's the
holding
one
on
you're
to.
holding. I know that's the one you're holding.
Yeah.
I got it too.
So I mean, we wanted to look at like what are some of the most pain in the butt rituals that you go through when you
Yeah.
log in the game. It's opening up, find out oh, I got to click on this, click on that, click on this, and there's no inherent value in going through that motion every single time, other than
Right.
just because it's rote tradition of that's how the game's functioned.
Mm.
Does it really offer anything that you have to manually reload these things every single time? So why not make it just automatic reload? And why does it need to cost anything?
I wonder if the thought there is that it's going to kill dead bases, but you still have to log on. It doesn't happen until you log on, correct?
Correct. So
So if that
has
person's
no
not
effect
playing,
on.
it's not going to kill the dead base.
Correct.
Right.
I guess that could be one perspective of it.
I don't know. It's good. I was happy when I saw that was coming.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
I think most people were. So should we get to the casual PC question? Corrupt asked this early on in the stream. I figured we'd save it to the end. I know Darian has been building his PC, his gaming rig, so want to give everyone an update on where that's at.
Hey Bash, what case do you have back there?
I believe it's the same as yours, the
H700.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that I'm on right now is the exact same case. Your lights are much more organized and prettier than mine. I haven't done the lighting on mine. And you can see the black computer that I built behind me there. So yeah, in the last couple of weeks I've built 2 systems with my wife's blessing.
Yeah, they're not expensive. And what cards did you say you had in there? 2080 Ti's? Was that it?
Yeah, they both have 2080 Ti's.
Oh, both of them, guys. Both of them. Those are
the one behind me is an AMD Ryzen 7 2700X. The one that I'm on here is an Intel i7 9700K. Both of them are running 32 gigs of. Actually, one behind me is 3400 megahertz RAM. This one's 4000 megahertz RAM because I wasn't going to let my stepson operate something that was better than mine.
You had to get the leg up on him somewhere, huh?
Yeah, the old man, The monitors are 4K monitors at 144 hertz, 27 inch.
I need to come hang out with you.
I've actually got 2 monitors here.
I
Um,
I don't think I could ever function again with. I have 3 now, but I don't think I could ever function again with less than 2.
yeah, like once I went to 2 monitors. Let's see, the primary boot drives are M.2 1 terabytes, and the secondary hard drive, the storage platter is a typical magnetic platter 4 terabytes. Nothing major.
Yeah, nothing major, guys. Nothing
Nothing
major.
major.
Just the
Well,
sexy
there-
beast
I love it.
machines.
That's
When I say
great.
nothing major, there's like no RAID arrays of like a bunch of
Right,
hard
yeah.
drives that's meshed together, and they're all in one water cooling units. Got these pretty headphones.
What are those headphones? Someone asked that earlier as well.
I believe they're Corsair something or others.
Corsair something or others.
Type that in,
Void.
you'll find it.
Is it Corsair Void Pros? Yeah, Corsair Void Pro, and this one's got RGB as well.
Gotta have the RGB, right?
Yeah, my room turns to. Right now I've got the case setting to pulse to music, and my wife walked in
nice.
and was like, "What the heck?" and just closed the door right after that.
I had that setting, but then I was like, I'm the only one that can hear the music because my office area is like my living room's right there, so the kids, I can't really play music without headphones without the kids going nuts.
Well, it sounds like you're set up pretty well, and you too, Bash. Fancy little light system going on behind you, man.
yeah.
It looks good.
That's just case lights. That's nothing.
That's
I'm
still
more
looks cool.
jealous of Darian's builds.
I mean, part of the advantage of being old is having money saved up. And I mean, I haven't built a new computer in probably 5 years. So my stepson, he's been interested in computers, and so I figured it was a perfect opportunity for like a father-son project to teach him about how computers work, and he wants to get into game development later on in life. So I figured it was a good project to try to do something together, and he learned something new about it. He knows how to maintain it now and how to make sure he's not installing something that he shouldn't by accident, like any kind of spyware or malware, anything like that.
Oh my goodness! Funny story on that, real quick. My mom called me the other night, and
you just started. My mom called.
Yes, my mom called me the other night, and she's like, "What's going on with my computer? It's talking to me. It's telling me that the FBI is." I'm like, "Mom, it's a scam. Shut down your computer. I'll look at it next time I'm able to come up."
Yeah, because my family lives in Los Angeles, and when I moved to Finland, I think my mom's first thing was like, "Who's gonna fix our computers?"
Not we're gonna miss you, but who fixes the computers?
Yep.
We had one quick question that came in here, which I think is very interesting. Before we shut up shop, Ryan had asked, with all of the things that we've received to upgrade faster, will we ever see more builders in the game?
Jeez.
I'll say this: never say never.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
I don't think we need more builders. I have such a hard time keeping mine going. When you get to 11 and 12, stuff is so expensive.
Yeah, that was the other side of it, though, isn't it? You got to then keep them active.
You're talking 12 million gold for like each defense.
I think
it's hard enough to keep 5 going.
I think we should get some hype for the World Championships as well before we finish.
Absolutely,
good idea.
Anyone that watched, I was going to say yesterday, but I guess it's still today for you guys.
It's all 3. It's all 3 days. It started yesterday. There's more elimination rounds today, with tomorrow being the qualifier event. Like whoever comes out on top in Poland and Katowice, Poland tomorrow is guaranteed a ticket to the World Finals later this year, and that means they've got one of the golden tickets to compete for the $1 million prize pool at the ESL World Finals. And I mean, it's the first time we've ever done a proper esport format with actual competitive prizes. So that's why we partnered with ESL, because they know how to do esports.
Mm-hmm.
So we're super excited about this. And the ultimate goal behind this is to see which clan can truly say they are the best in the world.
and how awesome will that be? And I got to
Will
say,
be.
some of the attacks from today or from yesterday was absolutely crazy. Like
Yeah.
I knew we'd probably see a 3-star or so, but wow, they were just flying out, and some of them were incredible. Like Eve Maxi with that dragon attack was insane. I couldn't believe how overpowering that attack was for him. He just got everything down to a T
Yeah.
and just annihilated that
I mean,
base.
you're,
It was
you're
a
talking about
pure
attackers.
pleasure to watch.
Yeah, you're talking about attackers who have this thing down to an art and science, where they know, just a few pixels to the left or to the right can
Yeah.
radically alter the trajectory of a certain troop. And then we expect to see more of that. We want it to be at the elevated level. We want it to be like these are the best of the best of the best, and the ones who deserve to be in that world final stage.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's a very exciting year for Clash with it. So
Yeah.
I think anyone that just happened to miss today's, I know it is already up on the Clash of Clans channel. I'd highly recommend going and watching it because it was absolutely brilliant.
And if you missed today's or Friday's, it's going to be every day, Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Helsinki time. So I think that's 2 or 3 p.m. GMT. But there will be a notice in game if you guys want to watch the live stream. And I highly recommend watching the live stream because you're going to see some of the most intense, best attacks in the world.
Yeah.
So tune in.
Tune in.
Tune in. Be there. Bash, any questions that we've missed? It's time to close up shop. So anything that you want to shoot out quickly, or if not, you could
Quick
say
one.
you're yeah.
I forgot to ask this for Bertus earlier. What town hall are you, Darian?
11.
There you go, Bertus. I think Bertus is still here. Yeah, he's still there in chat.
My main is 11. I've got 4 minis. I'm sorry. 2 9s, an 8, and a 7.
Not
But
bad,
my
not
11
bad.
is, I'd say, I'm upper mid town hall 11.
I think we might have to get Darian on the 5v5.
Oh, let's go, Darian.
Oh God.
I like it. Yeah, that's the only thing I had that I
All right.
was thinking of.
Then why don't we close up shop? Any other questions we could pick up another time or in another video or live stream? Bash, why don't you start us off and closing shop?
Darian, thanks for putting up with me. I don't know if you read the Discord chat before, but I was like, I'm gonna really get to Darian about those clouds, but Bertus beat me.
It wasn't even you.
Bertus, Bertus beat me to the clouds. But no, seriously, Darian, thanks for taking the time to come hang out with us, answer the questions. Always love these chats. It's just some of the insight we get is just something you would never see, and I think it's a really positive thing for the community. So, just appreciate your time, honestly.
I mean, my pleasure. I love you guys.
Thanks,
A little
man.
bit. No.
Except that I don't know about the Echo guy. He's a little shady.
I am.
I agree completely. No arguments here.
Judo?
Yeah, obviously, thanks for having me again. It's always great to hang out. I agree with Bash there. Just so much insight into the questions as well is awesome for the community. And thank you for sharing that, Darian. Obviously, thanks for having me, and it's great to hang out. Can't wait for the next one.
Darian, anything that you want to say to everyone before you head on out?
I did the promotion for the ESL event. Check it out. Like I said, you'll see the pop-up in game. It's 5 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Helsinki time. Apart from that, we've got the update coming on Monday, April 1st. It's not an April Fool's joke.
Monday.
Well, we'll just have to wait and find out.
We also have the 5-on-5 ESL event going on that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, which is something where my clan's participating in. It's really fun. Is your 5 people against other clans match up. It's an open ladder play. Anyone can join. Definitely check that out, guys. It's been fun. We've gotten our butts kicked, but when we do, it's a great learning experience. I mean, we've won a good few, but it's been a great learning experience. If you're trying to even just get your feet wet a little bit with competitive Clash, I definitely recommend that.
It's a good place to start.
Don't forget, with Monday, the 30v30 War Leagues.
I forgot all about that. Bigger War Leagues, guys. Come
much
join.
going on.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yep.
Come join my clan. We need more people. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Monday's going to be an exciting day, so I'm looking forward to it.
Hopefully it all comes off well and the update goes well and smooth and everyone's ready to get on going. But thank you, Darian, for coming on. I know it's late for you. Judo, thank you for coming on. I know it's early for you, and Bash, I can't get rid of you, so I'm glad that I enjoy having you here,
buddy.
man. But you guys all heard it here first. I am, what did Darian call me? A fool? Shady. I am shady. Yeah, you heard it here, guys, from Darian's mouth.
Shady or sketchy? I don't remember.
It was shady. It was shady.
Something like that. That's all we need to know.
Either way, it's not good. Thank you guys so much for coming through. I enjoyed you guys being on the show with me. It was definitely a good time. Got some great information that we would have never thought before. Make sure you come back for the next episode. Not sure when that's going to be, but it'll be. And thanks, guys. We'll see all you back here again next time. Until then, be good.
Bye.